Hi everybody, my name is Lauren and welcome to the Omnivorous Bookworm. And today I'm going to be doing the 20 questions, I don't know what this means, the 20 questions bookish tag. I saw this on Djuna's channel like a while ago and I thought it looked interesting. And I will link the original tag down below. It's on Goodreads, so if you want to do it, um, you can do it. Nobody tagged me because I'm a new channel. So, alright, so we have 20 questions. Let's start off with the first question. How many books is too many books in a book series? I think it depends. Like, if it's a series that's like the same world, like interconnected, but they are like standalones, I mean, it's infinite, right? I mean, I've read some series where, like, you read 6 books and you want more, or you can read a series that has, it's just a trilogy and you feel like it's too long. So, obviously, it depends on the, like, story and how good the author is at, like, filling in the details from the ones before. But I would say, like, I don't know. I feel like for me personally, like if I'm trying to like get into a series and I know that like they're not standalones and I have to like go through them, I'm getting to the point where like anything more than 4 or 5, I'm like, ugh, I don't think I want to even start it. But it also depends if the series is finished or not. Like if the series is finished, I'm more likely to do it. But if it's not finished yet, I don't want to be in a position where like I'm waiting a year or two for the next book. So I would say any more than 4 or 5, it better be good, I guess. even at this point, I feel like more than 2 or 3, I'm like, it better be really good. All right, number 2. How do you feel about cliffhangers? And I'm reading off of my tablet. Um, I don't mind cliffhangers. I feel like the story should have its own, like it should have its own beginning, middle, and end. Independent, like the main plot should have some kind of ending. Like it shouldn't just stop mid-action because that's a cliffhanger. Now, obviously, if they're like open, I think the best way to do it is there's like open threads, like a side, like for side plots, or if there's parts of the main plot that can still be resolved, then I think that works a lot better. But yeah, I'm okay with a cliffhanger as long as um, there's some kind of resolution, or if the next one is already published. So like I've heard a lot of great things about Black Sun, but I'm not going to read it until the second one is out because I've heard that it like ends on a cliffhanger. I haven't read it, but that's what I've heard. And so I'm like, I'm not going to read that because then what ends up happening is I get it, I have the cliffhanger, I really want to read the next one, it's not there. By the time the next one comes out, I've forgotten some of the characters and some of the intricacies of things, and then I either have to reread it or I have to like look at the Cliff's notes and like refresh my memory, and I don't enjoy that. So, yeah. Number 3, I have hard copy or paperback. Well, personally, I prefer an ebook because, especially the Kindle, because since I have trouble seeing, and I really love the Kindle because I can make it so big and um, I don't have to, usually if a book has large print, it's really heavy. So I really enjoy that and it doesn't strain my eyes as much. The other problem, like if you have trouble seeing, is you have to hold the book up, like closer. And so your wrists actually get tired. Like you don't think about it, but it is like a physical effort. So I really enjoy like the lightweight ebook. So I guess if I had to choose between hardback or paperback, I would choose paperback because it's lighter. The hardbacks kill me. To read a hardback, I have to like get a couch cushion or some kind of pillow to like put it close to my face because I have to read like that. If the print is small, I have to like sit like that, and that's not fun. Okay, number 4, favorite book. I think my favorite book of all time, like ever, would probably be Little Women because I just love it. It has so much nostalgia for me. As far as books that I've read in the last year, I would probably say like Fireborne because I really love that book and I wasn't expecting to love it. and it was just so smart, especially for a YA. I just think there were so many parts of it that were like different while still. I love it when a book can take a spin on something old in a new way, and yeah, it's completely new, but it's based on a lot of like Plato. I think it's Plato's Republic or the Aeneid, something like that. I forget only. Okay, next one, number 5. Oh, another one that I read. It hasn't been very recently, but it's a really good book, and I think with everything happening in Israel and Palestine right now, it's a great one to check out if you're interested. Is Mornings in Jenin or Jenin? I don't know how to say that. It's really, really good book. It follows a family of Palestinians, and it takes place like when they were basically kicked out of their home after the British like said you're not living here anymore and this is going to be an Israeli state, and it's really heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. It's a really well done book. I actually wrote an email to the author after I read it because I was so emotional about it, and I've never done that before, so that's how good it was. But it's been a few years, but it's really, really good. Actually, it's been like, gosh, almost 10 years. Gosh, how time goes. Okay, number 5, least favorite book. Oh gosh. Okay, so of all time, my least favorite book has to be a book I had to read at university. I don't even know, honestly, if I read all of it because it was so strange. And it was called Nightwood. I don't remember the author. Oh, it was horrible. It was really, really awful. I don't even know if it's a spoiler because it's such a strange book, but there's like, it has a dog and a woman and doing, it was so, I just could not do it. No, 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 I hated it. It's over my head. I don't know, a lot of people like it. They say it's so insightful, it's so deep. Like, no, it's just horrible. Okay, and the one that I've read recently, and I don't know if this one counts either because I don't think I actually finished it, but I tried to finish it multiple times and it was so bad. And it was The Lioness of Morocco. It's by a German couple, and it's translated from German. And the main character is like this rich British woman in the 1900s who goes to Morocco. And it's just so, it was seemed really racist. And yeah, there was just so many things wrong. It was like anti-Semitic too. It was just like, what is happening? So yeah, I didn't enjoy that. So I only say that because I really don't recommend that book. And it's on Kindle Unlimited, so it keeps popping up in my stuff, and I'm like, no, no, don't read that. All right, number 6. Love triangles, yes or no? I would say usually no. If it's done well and it's like a side, if it's not the main part of the story, it doesn't bother me a lot. I don't like love triangles where you're like not sure who they're supposed to end up with. I don't mind it as much as like, oh, I like this person. Like I should be with this person, but I really like this person, and you know, like that they're gonna end up with this person over here. It's just like you have to see how that process is gonna unfold. I don't mind that. Or if you like somebody and this person likes you, and you kind of know what's gonna happen, I'm okay with that if it's done. If it's interesting, it's not. But yeah, that's the whole point of the story, and it's like, do I want him or her or her? No, 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 no. I don't like that. It's not good. Okay, number 7, the most recent book you just couldn't finish. Well, this one was just a couple weeks ago in the Asian Readathon, was The Question of Red. It was just too much for me. It was a little too much intellectually, and I don't know. I just wanted something a little lighter, and the characters were too, it was just too distant from the characters. Anyway, I talked about it in week 1 of the Asian Readathon if you want to hear about my reasons why. Okay, number 8, a book you're currently reading. Right now I'm reading, one of the books I'm reading is Murder on the Links by Agatha Christie, and then I'm also reading, what's the name of it? I think it's like Neanderthal, Once Human or something like that. I just started it, so I don't remember. Okay, number 9, last book you recommended to someone. Has to be Fireborne. Yeah, I recommend that too. Because it has so many aspects that a lot of different types of people will enjoy. So I'm like, oh yeah, you will like that. Yeah, you'll like that too. Oh, you're 12, you'll like that. So it's everybody. Oldest book you've read. So I looked this one up because obviously I didn't want to do it right now. I mean, I guess if like we're talking about the oldest, like probably would be the Bible, I guess, or and then if we're talking about like, I mean, I feel like it's things that everybody's read, like Beowulf or something like that, but I don't know if that how much that counts. So what I decided to do was the last year, or like well, not the last year, last few months of 2021, like what was actually the oldest book, because I thought that would be more interesting. And the oldest book I've read in 2021 is Cranford, and that was in 1851. So it's not that old, but I like a lot of Victorian British classics. Like those are my favorite classics, like the British ones. Newest book you've read? Well, I guess it would be, I just finished When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Nghi, it's the number 2 in the singing cycle. So I guess that would be the newest publication. I think it was 2020. I don't know that I've read anything published in 2021 yet. I'm pretty economical in my reading habits, so a lot of the newer releases, I don't get them. I read them later because there's enough older stuff that I will like to read that I'm not willing to pay extra to read it sooner. All right, my favorite author, I think my favorite author of all time, like how they write, would be Maeve Binchy. I really like her, like her style. She writes a lot of books set in like kind of 1950s, 1960s Ireland, which is a really interesting time, and it's not a lot of people write about that, and it's just the way she writes about her characters and things is just very sweet, very, it's just like the kind of book, it's not going to keep you on the edge of your seat, but it's just very sweet, very well written. And then usually she has some way that everything is like interconnected, so it sort of gives me like the same things I like about mysteries without like a dead body. So I really like Maeve Binchy for that reason. A lot of her books is like, I think Evening Class is one of those where you have all these people taking an Italian class, and then you find out like how they're all sort of connected in these weird ways. I enjoy that. Buying books or borrowing books? Well, I don't really have access to a library. I live in Mexico where we live. I don't really have, I guess I could purchase one. I've thought about doing that, but I haven't. I do use Kindle Unlimited, so I guess that's technically borrowing. So I do both. I'm not opposed to it. I don't tend to like to reread a lot, and I don't feel the need to physically have the book, like a physical book. So it's, I don't feel strongly one way or the other. I guess I like borrowing because it's cheaper, but sometimes you can't find it. So a book you dislike that everyone else seems to love. Oh, I feel bad about this one because everybody loved it, and I actually feel bad that I didn't like this series as much as like other people did, because I really wanted to like it, and I still might go back to it because I feel kind of like maybe I was just in the wrong headspace for it, because I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it a lot, and everybody else seemed to love it, so I felt like I think I'm missing something here. And that was the Magic Bite series by Ilona Andrews. What's the character's name? Kate. I forget her name. It's Kate something. And I couldn't really get into the character. I mean, I like they have mystery elements to it. I really like the setup. The setup is that like people are living on magic. Every like 1,000 years there's a switch between magic and technology, and then it goes back to magic, and they're like in this middle of this, so like the technology's not working sometimes. I thought the premise was super cool. I really liked the idea of it. I like, my main character doesn't have to be super likable, so I thought I would really like it, but I don't know. I just feel like there was too many like dark, gross creatures, and I don't know. I just really had a hard time getting into it, and it was more of a disappointment. It wasn't that I really didn't like it, and I read the first 2 in the series, and I was just like, oh, I think maybe this is not for me, or it's not for me now, and maybe I'll come back to it. But I was really disappointed in that. So I actually feel kind of like guilty for saying that. All right, number 5, bookmarks or dog ears? Bookmarks. Yeah. Unless it was like a book I had to read for university, and it was like my passive aggressive way of having to pay $200 for a book. And I want to go quickly to a bunch of different places to write a report, and I'm too lazy to get post-it notes. That's the only time I would dog ear. But yeah, no, I would never dog ear a book that I like. A book you can always reread. I don't reread a lot, but I would have to say Little Women. Yeah, Little Women is great. I love it. It's wonderful. All right, number 17. Can you read while listening to music? Yes, of course. I don't really get distracted a lot. Yeah, it's hard to distract me. Yeah, yeah. Number 18. One POV or multiple POVs? Doesn't matter. I feel like if the more POVs you add, POVs you add, you have to have a reason for it. It's going to get more complicated. And usually there's like one point of view that you like better than the others. So it can get pretty dicey pretty quick, but I'm not opposed to multiple point of views if like it's necessary. I guess I prefer one, if you had to ask me, but yeah, it's not something that I would not read it for or whatever. Do you read a book in one setting or over multiple days? Well, usually they're too long to read in one setting. So I would have to say multiple days, unless it's a novella. I read the Singing Hill cycle. Well, it was the second one when the tiger came down the mountain. I read it in one day, but I think even then I did it in multiple sittings. I feel like I get kind of like my brain gets overdone if I sit too long and just reading. I have to kind of get up and do something else for a while. I'm not somebody who can just sit and read for like 8 hours straight. I have to like, maybe a couple hours and then I like, I don't know, go do something. Who do you... Okay, so that's it. The last one is who do you tag? And I tag everybody who wants to do it. Alright, well that was my 20 bookish questions. Hopefully that was interesting for you and made you start thinking about some of your answers. If you would like to do the video yourself or answer the questions, you can put them down below. I would love to see your answers, or if you don't want to answer all the questions because 20 questions is a lot, you can answer some of them. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.